Hey everybody, welcome back to Is It a Buy, where we talk about stocks and try to determine if they are worth a buy or maybe a pass. My name is Corey. I'd just like to preface the video by saying I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who likes to talk about stocks, so please take what I say with a grain of salt, all right? Man, I kind of rushed through that today. Anyways, let's get into the video. Quick disclosure, I do have a large position in AMC as well as GameStop, so I do want to be full transparency there and just let you guys know. All right, let's get into the video, guys. This is another thing that we've been waiting for. Okay, we've been waiting for this rule. So on my channel, I've typically been saying we have the two rules, the rule essentially saying we can look at your books, and then the rule 801, which we're still waiting on, which we'll get into, that is saying we will force you to liquidate your positions. This is a different rule that we're still waiting on. This is another checkbox, okay, that we've been waiting on. This is putting us one step closer to exactly what we're trying to do, which is force the hedge funds to cover their positions. And the DTCC, the nscc, the SEC, they're all going to help us essentially get to where we need to be, okay? And I'm very, very, very excited about this, okay? So this is rule 4, essentially. Okay, so let's go through it. We'll go through the good stuff. I'll break it down in super simple terms just to make sure we're all crystal clear in understanding what is going on, and we'll go ahead and cover that. So let's get into it. We're going to jump right into the information here, just so you know, it's all legit, it's all in here. And so this kind person has put it all kind of in an easily digestible manner for us, but I want to break it down just a little bit further just to make sure. And if anyone missed this article or is having a hard time understanding, maybe they don't want to read, then we can break it down. So the R&W plan, and R&W plan is the recovery and wind down plan. Okay, sets forth the plan to be used by the board and the nscc management in the event the nscc encounters scenarios that could potentially prevent it from being able to provide its critical services as a going concern. Okay, let's continue. The recovery tools available to the nscc are intended to address the risk of an uncovered losses or liquidity shortfalls resulting in the default of one of those of more of its members, and B, losses arising from non-default events such as damage to the NSCC's physical assets, a cyber attack, and things like that. Mostly we're looking at A, okay? Now, the proposed rule is designed to update and enhance the clarity of the plan to ensure it is current in the event it is ever necessary to be implemented. And now, so basically they're saying, hey, we're just going to update this plan just in case we have to use it. Why do you think they're trying to push out these rules, enact these plans and everything to make it crystal clear what is going on? In the last one, they also they covered up the loophole that says that they have 1 month to report, and then people were still, there was a loophole in there that they didn't even have to report. There's a lot of interesting things going on that is forcing them to that is just pushing them a little bit further. I love it. Okay, let's look at this next part. Section 5.3, liquidity shortfalls of the plan, identifies tools that may be used to address foreseeable shortfalls of the NSCC's liquidity resources following a member default. Okay, a member default. Someone defaults, unable to pay, bankruptcy, who knows what. Okay, and so it kind of goes on and on, but let's kind of break it down. You know, I don't want to just read this all day. Let's break it down super simple. We'll read the TLDR, and then I will continue to just break it down little further, just to make sure we fully understand. Okay, and so the APE TLDR, the NSCC, in their subsidiary of the DTCC, has filed a document. This was yesterday. And basically, so they're clearing corporation. So basically, they're the ones who are stuck with the bag. They're gonna, and we talked about this, right? These guys are gonna be stuck with the bag if it doesn't happen. If these hedge funds go bankrupt, or like, hey, like we can't pay this, then the DTCC, NSCC, they're stuck with the bag. And you know what? They don't want to be stuck with the bag. They shouldn't have to be stuck with the bag, but it's kind of part of their liability with what they do. And so that is that. So the plan identifies tools that may be used to address foreseeable shortfalls of the NSCC's liquidity resources following a member default. If these, like we've been talking about this, if a hedge fund goes default, the DTCC and SEC are liable for it. They don't want to be liable for it. They don't. Why would they want to be liable for that? The plan supports an industry effort to design to prepare carrying broker dealers for an emergency mass transfer of large quantities of customer accounts and assets from a distressed broker to a financially secure broker. AKA, we're all gonna be a-okay if this squeezes and these hedge funds go out of business, okay? Because either the hedge funds are gonna pay, the DTCC is going to pay, and it's all going to be in a safe, secure place and with a secure broker to make sure all of this is handled very safely so we do not lose our money. Okay, and that is what's happening. Like, I love it so much, guys. We have those two rules now already. We need that final rule, that third and final rule that says you guys are forced to cover. I just wanted to show this breakdown, explain like I'm ape. For those of you who don't know. So rule 003, which one passed? Show us your positions. Rule 4, which is this one that we have been waiting on, but I haven't really been talking about in the channel just because it's really not our end goal, but still very important that we're not going to take the fall. Like, you guys are going to have to cover. And number 801. The 801 is the big one. This is the one we've been waiting for. This is the one we're so excited about. And we're just waiting on it. And basically it is, we're margin calling and you're done. Okay. And so again, we can see this here. This is what we're waiting for. And we can see these are filed. So we're waiting for this column over here to be filled in with the rule 801. And that is, oh my gosh, guys, that's end game right there. Okay. Now we've seen what happens. We've seen what's been happening. This is a completely different case. Okay. Completely different case. But I do want to address what can happen whenever big companies like this, Archegos people, get a $30 billion margin call. Now, I don't know how big the margin calls are going to be for these guys, but I would not be surprised if it is similar or larger to what's going on with GameStop and AMC, okay? And let's take a look, okay? This was a little bit different. They were doing CFDs or contracts for difference, and basically they were able to, they placed a bet. And so looking at this, it's a little tricky, and you can see here basically what they were able to do is they were able to essentially position themselves. For example, they could get $1 million $1 million position for only $200,000. Okay, insane. So regardless of that, let's take away the minutia, but this $30 billion margin call. Okay, look what it did to the stock. It did this to the stock. Okay. Now imagine this in the opposite direction, okay? Imagine what this would do in the opposite direction, and this is what we're looking at for something with AMC and GameStop, okay? And they were forced, and just so you know, this was going the opposite way because they were forced to liquidate their positions, and this is what happened. It completely tanked the stock. Now, it's just crazy. So that's what happened. Okay, I was going to get into a buy the dip type situation for this stock if you're bullish on it, but I'm not going to go there. I'm going to talk about AMC and GameStop, guys. This is what we're waiting for. Imagine this in the opposite direction, just skyrocketing because they're forced to cover. Whenever that rule 801 happens, I'm very bullish on what exactly will happen whenever that day comes and they're forced to cover. And this is where they get into AMC to 2000, GameStop to 5,000, whatever it would be. It's because whenever they're forced to cover, whoever decides to sell, they have to keep increasing the price until they find a seller. And if someone doesn't agree to sell until $5,000, $100, whatever it would be, then that's where the agreed upon price is. They're going to have to continue to purchase shares because the float is so little. There's so many people just holding these stocks that they have to find a seller. And so they'll find sellers on the way up, sure. But eventually, you know, if they don't find enough sellers, it's going to continue to drive the price up. Okay. And that's just the way it works. Okay. So that is what I have for you guys. I know I got a little bit long, got a little bit of a tangent, but I think it's extremely important to understand what can happen here and the strength of this margin call and what it can do for everyone. Okay, if you did like the content, please consider subscribing. I'm doing my best to cover GameStop, AMC, all this stuff with the squeeze. We are waiting on that rule 801. You don't want to miss whenever that rule passes. I'm on here basically every single day waiting for this rule, refreshing multiple times a day, trying to see when this rule is going to pass. Okay, you don't want to miss when that passes. And that's that. If you did like the content, please consider liking as well. It really helps me with that YouTube algorithm. and don't be afraid to share the video, share the news. We need people to know that, I know there's fatigue setting in, but now is the time, in my personal opinion. Do what you need to do what's best for you. But in my personal opinion, this is the time to hold, and this is the time to wait for this payday, for this Rule 801 that is really going to pay. All right. Thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. I really appreciate it. Have a great day. Peace.